Hello. Okay, so the third part of the reading series. My computer's humming, actually, sorry. So the last time Alobar discovered a white hare, and the time period and place where he lives, they execute the king, or he's the king, once they show signs of age. So that's where last we were. He was in the forest, I believe, looking in his reflection at the hair that he just pulled out. Okay. So, oh, most unwelcome hair. From the lemony southern islands to the mountainous haunts of trolls, there was no honest person who could call King Alobar a coward. Numerous times he had risked his life in combat, exhilarant the city cry of his charge. And why not? What was there in death to fear? Death was the world's tribute and the other world's bequest. To shun it was to cheat both sides. In yanking out the gray hair, he felt that he had betrayed his people, his gods, and himself. Himself? Self. What did that mean? Alobar pounded the pillow with his head, causing Mick to growl softly and Alma to flail both arms, although she did not surface from that sea without fish. At first light, ere a rooster had reached the doodle part of his cock-a-doodle-doo, Alobar shook Alma awake, ordering her back to the harem and requesting that she send Ren in her stead. What are you grinning at? My lord, I am merely happy to notice you have regained your appetites. What are you insinuating, woman? Nothing, my lord. What? He seized her by her yellow braids. Don't be angry, sire. It's just that some of your wives grumble among themselves that you have neglected them of late. The king released her. Automatically, he raised his fist to the temple where the white hair had sprouted. Were another about to emerge, he would squash it in its follicle. Have they spoken of this to the council? Oh no, my lord, it has not come to that. Tell the truth. I think they are merely peevish because you spend your best seed in that clumsy little runt. Frall. In the depths of his tangled beard, Alobar managed half a smile. Young Frall was pregnant again, and from the size of her belly there developed therein a second set of twins. Kissing had yet to be discovered in Europe, alas, so Alobar rubbed Alma's nose with his own. My are so heavy I cannot leave the bed. Quickly now, fetch me Ren. As soon as she had gone, he arose and forced open the massive oak window. While Mick licked his feet, he uttered a succession of prayers to the rapidly diminishing sparkle of the morning star. Those whom Alobar governed were a blonde race of such recent northern origin that snow trolls and mystical red toadstools still figured in the tales the elders told around the fires, although the king himself, save for that morbid filament he had drowned in the spring, was on the dusky side. Ren, the daughter of a southern chieftain slain in a battle by Alobar's predecessor, was even duskier. The only dark meat in the king's larder. Some of the warriors joked. Her coloration was one reason he favored her. More importantly, however, he loved her good sense, although in that time, good sense was considered no more virtue in a wife than love in a king. Alma's advance advertising must have been effective, for Ren arrived in the royal chamber already, nude and lathered, wine in her cheeks. Thus she was surprised to find her husband fully clothed, sitting with his hound on the great bare rug at the foot of his bed. I am sorry, my lord, she stammered. The vintner in her veins pressed a more ruddy grape. I was informed that you had summoned me. That I did, dear Ren. Please come sit at my side. Well, all right, of course. But first let me fetch my robe. I've left it in the anteroom. Smiling at her decorum, Alobar started to detain her. Even in his agitated mood, he could admire this walking flower of intelligent pink, this industry of honey and brine. But the image of the hair cast its shadow, and he allowed her to dress. He petted the dog. So you plucked it, she said, after he had related the events of the previous day. Yes, I did. Plucked it? Yes. But why? I hope that you could help me answer that. Ren shook her head of skunk-black curls. She appeared puzzled. No, my lord, I think not. I have never met nor heard story of one who so resisted fate. Surely I'm not the first, said Alobar. If so, I must be a madman. As well as a coward. Oh, neither, my Alobar. Then what? He watched dispassionately while Mick got up, yawned, stretched, and lumbered to a far corner of the room to relieve himself. Tell me, Ren, what do you believe awaits you after you die? Awaits me? Me, Ren? I have never pondered what death might hold for this one person. Born Renna of Pindus, now Ren, wife of Alobar. Death is not a personal matter, is it? It is the business of the clan. Our clan is responsible for maintaining the continuity of our race against the terrible whims of heavens and earth, and since the clan is weakened by the loss of one of its members, any death can be an ordeal for the whole. The king nodded. No gray hair nodded with him, though not having viewed himself that morning, he could not be certain of that. Which explains why our people hold such elaborate and energetic funerals. We entertain the immortals in order that they might be persuaded to help us recover the strength and unity stolen from us by death. However, and this occurred to me only last night as I lay abed undreaming, the clan usually succeeds in closing that breach death tore in its defenses. But what of the one who died? In some regions they believe that he will pop up again in the springtime like a crocus, but never have I observed such a blooming. In the past I have thought, I shall entrust myself to whoever is more powerful in the next world, the gods or the demons, yet now my own speedy demise is a rising possibility. I do not willingly submit to playing the part of prize in an otherworldly tug-of-war. Is this blasphemy, my lord? I think not. Those who crafted me, be they gods or demons, crafted this mind that shapes resistance to their schemes. Surely they were wise enough, at the wheel where I was thrown, to anticipate future resistance in the heart they were a-building. Alobar looked at her hopefully. Can you not agree? Ren placed her soft hand upon Mick's coat. At her touch the huge hound seemed almost to purr. I can neither agree nor disagree. I came here, this dawn, a quarter asleep, expecting to have my furrow plowed, only to have you sow in my mind such strange ideas. She gave her fingers to Mick, so that he might affectionately wet them. Perhaps, said Alobar, I ought to turn to the necromancer for advice. No, no, Alobar, do not, please do not. Indeed, why? This is hard for me to express, my lord, but I shall try. The kings of your ancestors have been celebrated around many a bonfire, but celebrated for cunning and for brawn. Wisdom, true knowledge, has been the province of the necromancer alone. You have changed all that, and Noog does not like it. You must forgive what I'm about to say, for it is a fact. There are men inside these city walls more powerfully built than you, Alobar, more adept with the spear, men who can run faster, hurl a stone farther, face an awesome enemy with an equal absence of trembling, and pacify a harem with as sturdy a shaft. But you, well, I cannot imagine how you acquired it. You have a brain. Time and time again, you have demonstrated your unusual ability to see inside of men and to interpret the silent pleas they aim at the stars. In the past, many kings have ruled this people. You have governed them. Governed. It is a Hellenic word. Hellenic. Alobar closed his eyes and thought of what he had heard of the Hellenic city-states far to the southeast, near the edge of the earth. How glorious they were rumored to have been, how wealthy and learned and proud of their arts. Long ago, northern tribes, not unlike his ancestors, had sacked them. What good was righteous governing if rough people could come along at will and chop you up? A Hellenic word, meaning to exercise a directing influence. That you have done. The heroics of past rulers only kept your kingdom in the state of agitation. You have calmed it, and Noog resents you for that, because as a result of your reasonable leadership, the necromancer is less necessary and less admired. I'm not surprised. There's a limit to admiration we may hold for a man who spends his waking hours poking the contents of chickens with a stick. Divination has its worth. Yes, and so perhaps does the elimination of time-trapped kings. Yet rebellion stirs within me this daybreak. I appreciate your warning about Noog. Were I to tell him what I'm about to tell you, dear Ren, I would be dining on bitter egg ere the moon is ripe. I have seen kings bite that egg, watch them turn green as ivy leaves, and flap about the yard like a freshly beheaded fowl, and all the while the populace onlooking, as if they were at a bear and dog match. Now, in the eyes of the stars, men may be no more exalted than beasts, and kingly men no more worthier than the wretched. Well, forgive me, and perhaps the sap of that silver hair has made me drunk from inside my skull, but I am seized with desire to do something more, something whose echo can drown out the rattle of death. Okay, I'm going to go to bed. Yes, good night.